Ever heard of a law so strange it makes jaywalking look sensible? Hold tight, guys, because we're heading to Maine, the undisputed champion of bizarre legal oddities. You might think these are urban legends, but they're about as real as a lobster roll, overflowing with butter. And trust us, in Maine, that's very real. Now, before we unleash this legal zoo on you, here's the thing. Making a law is like ordering that delicious lobster roll. It's a whole process. So sometimes these wacky rules get stuck around like a rogue French fry in your beard. And changing them? About as fun as pulling teeth after a bowl of those extra chewy candies. But hey, the good news is they hardly ever enforce these crazy regulations. So go ahead, keep those holiday lights twinkling well past Christmas. Although your grumpy neighbor might give you the stink eye. All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get down to the real weirdness. First up, we have a law so obvious it shouldn't even need to be written. It's illegal to step out of a plane mid-flight. Seriously? But who even thinks of doing that, you ask? Well, believe it or not, according to some reports, there have been a handful of incidents where passengers, for reasons unknown, attempted a mid-air escape. Thankfully, most airplanes come equipped with sturdy doors and level-headed flight attendants to prevent such high-altitude hijinks. So, the next time you're tempted to reenact that scene from Castaway mid-flight, remember, Maine and common sense says no way, Jose. Besides, the only thing breezier than that open door will be the legal breeze you'll face if you get caught. So stay inside, enjoy the in-flight movie, even if it's a questionable choice, and leave the skydiving to the professionals. Oh boy, this next law is sure to have Ebenezer Scrooge clutching his pearls. Apparently those festive lights twinkling outside your window, spreading holiday cheer and making your house look like a winter wonderland, well, those beauties better be down by January 14th or you'll be facing a fine. That's right, folks. In the great state of Maine, there's a Grinch on the loose in the form of a dusty old law. Can you imagine the scene? It's July, the sun is scorching, and your neighbor, Crazy Carl, as everyone calls him, still has his Christmas lights strung up. But hey, according to the law, Crazy Carl is a walking, twinkling paradox, a festive rebel. Now, I'm not saying you should follow Crazy Carl's lead unless you enjoy explaining yourself to the holiday light police, but next time you see someone with their Christmas cheer shining bright in the middle of summer, you can officially call them a lawbreaker. Just don't expect them to take it lying down. They might hit you with a classic retort.
It's my house. I'll keep my lights up if I want to.
But hey, at least you'll have a good story to tell at the next barbecue. Now, imagine strolling down the charming streets of Augusta, Maine, violin tucked under your chin, ready to serenade the world. Just as you're about to unleash a soul-stirring melody that would make Vivaldi weep with joy, a stern-looking Mainer with a bushy mustache taps you on the shoulder.
Hold on there, Sonny.
He booms in a voice that could curdle milk.
This ain't no Carnegie Hall. Violins are strictly indoors in these parts.
You blink, dumbfounded.
But officer,
You sputter.
isn't music supposed to bring joy to the people?
He shakes his head, a glint of amusement in his eye.
Nope. Apparently, in Augusta, they prefer their serenades a cappella style, maybe with a touch of yodeling.
Disheartened, you pack up your violin, muttering something about the death of culture. Now, we're not sure what historical fiddle incident caused this bizarre law, but one thing's for sure. Augusta must have some seriously talented a cappella singers, if they're afraid a little violin competition. Moving on, we have a law that's specific and, frankly, a little suspicious. In Freeport, Maine, a town known for its charming shops and, apparently, a particularly disgruntled second-story dweller. Because in Freeport, it's illegal to expectorate, which, for those of you who haven't consulted your fancy dictionaries lately, means spitting, out a second-story window. Now, we're not sure what epic spitting battle raged on those second floors, but let's just say someone clearly missed the mark by a mile, or maybe a grumpy seagull stole their lunch. Imagine the scene. Tourists strolling down the picturesque streets admiring the quaint shops, when suddenly, splat, a rogue loogie lands right on a freshly baked lobster roll.
Yuck!
Screams a horrified tourist.
This is outrageous!
Shouts another. News travels fast in a small town, and soon the whole spitting incident is the talk of the town. The local council, fed up with the flying phlegm, throws down the legal gauntlet.
No more second-story loogie launches.
They declare. Third and fourth floors? Apparently those are fair game. Maybe they have better aim up there. Or maybe the council just figured people wouldn't be walking around with open mouths 4 stories up. Either way, this law is a hilarious reminder that sometimes even the most charming towns have some seriously strange habits. So next time you're in Freeport, admire the shops, enjoy the lobster rolls, but for the love of Pete, keep your aim north of the 2nd floor. Speaking of aiming, how about a law for tenants with, shall we say, unique dispute resolution techniques? But in Rumford, Maine, they take landlord disputes to a whole new level. Here, it's actually illegal to bite your landlord. We're picturing a scene straight out of a cartoon. A frustrated tenant with hangry eyes lunging for their landlord's arm. Now, listen, we feel your pain. That leaky roof isn't going to fix itself. And that broken heater situation is practically criminal. But trust us, there are better ways to vent your frustration. Maybe take up the violin, just don't play it in public in Augusta, because that's another whole can of legal worms. And trust us, nobody wants a screeching violin solo while they're grabbing a lobster roll. Look, we're not saying channel your inner Hannibal Lecter on your landlord, but maybe a strongly worded letter or a well-placed passive-aggressive casserole will do the trick. Just keep it civil, folks, and your pearly whites intact. Next, we have a law that's just plain sad. But imagine this, you've got a killer business idea. A revolutionary line of ghost-catching gadgets, perhaps? Who better to target than the, well, targeted demographic at the local cemetery, right? Wrong. In Wells, Maine, advertising in a graveyard is a no-go zone. Think about it. Even the most enthusiastic zombie wouldn't be browsing tombstones for the latest goal-banishing gizmos. One local florist, Honest Harold Hemlock, tried this very tactic back in '87. Harold swore he saw a ghostly hand reaching for his flyer, advertising sympathy lilies guaranteed to stay fresh. Mostly. Needless to say, Harold wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and the police swiftly shut down his spectral sales pitch. So, aspiring entrepreneurs, take note. Stick to the living for your marketing ploys and leave the eternal peace and potential ghostly lawsuits undisturbed. And lastly, a law that's like a 2-for-1 special. Protects Maine's ecosystem and your sanity. Owning an armadillo as a pet? Absolutely not allowed. We're onto you, Ross Geller, with your misguided holiday armadillo idea from Friends. Forget legality for a sec. These critters are built for balmy southern sunshine, not the brisk winters of Maine. Imagine a shivering armadillo, looking like a lost puppy in a snowstorm. Not a cute picture. Plus, armadillos can be carriers of leprosy, which is basically inviting a nightmarish holiday guest. So stick to cuddling a plush armadillo or your favorite lobster plushie. It'll be way less hassle and a whole lot healthier. Besides, can you imagine explaining to your landlord why Fido the armadillo suddenly has spots?
It's just a festive skin condition, sir. Very holiday appropriate.
So there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the weird and wonderful world of Maine's legal oddities. Did you know about any of these laws? Have you ever accidentally broken one? Don't worry, your secret's safe with us. Just maybe avoid biting your landlord and hopping out of planes next time you're in Maine, okay?